Welcome to Coffee Break with K.A. and Dana. We're brought to you by the Lesbian Talk Show. I'm K.A., a lesbian romance author, and in my past life, a counselor and a social worker.
And I'm Dana, an avid reader, coffee connoisseur, recovering alcoholic, and a graduate of the School of Hard Knocks.
Grab a cup of coffee, pull up a chair, and join us for a meaningful conversation from a lesbian perspective. Argument about taste is as fundamental as habit. We take for granted that different people enjoy different things, and that others feel as confident in their judgments as we do ours. In this episode, Kay and Dana discuss the topic of taste and what it reveals about us. Won't you join us for a meaningful conversation? All right, so we've kind of got a fun topic this week, talking about people and their taste or people and their stuff. Kind of lighthearted compared to our last couple. We read an article, as we often do. Did you like it?
It was very interesting to me to put myself in the article to see where I fit, but also others that I know.
Yeah, it was a long article from Psychology Today, and it really did have a lot of details. It hit the high points for each of them. I mean, you didn't go into a lot of depth, but enough for us to have, I think, a good conversation.
The title of the article is What Your Stuff Reveals About You.
Yeah, and really, I guess you could say it talked about stuff, but mostly to me, it talked about personal taste.
I would agree with that.
Because when I think of stuff, I think of the things you collect, how many T-shirts you have in your drawer,
what your desk looks like,
how much junk you have on your garage shelf, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, stuff.
It really didn't talk too much about that. It talked about personality types.
And a lot about how the different personalities like different types of music and art.
Yeah, whoever wrote this article really liked art and music. Okay. So, of course, I looked at it kind of from a psychology perspective, and it certainly broke it down. But it talked about let's just hit some of the high points. So, open people, it said that their living space contains more books, more CDs, more DVDs than non-open people or less open people, that their collections of those things are more eclectic. And it suggested that those folks will sometimes become artists. Less open, the main thing that hit me was those are your nostalgic folks who, remember things from childhood, the shows they watched or whatever. That's their taste now. They like those old movies and those old characters and those kind of things.
So my thought was you fit in the open category.
Actually, that was my thought too. And my wife, I couldn't help, I'm sure you thought about Wendy at the same time because I couldn't help but think about Kay as I hit these. And really, she's so nostalgic. Her favorite shows are like Perry Mason, and she still fondly remembers Howdy Doody.
She's one I could see watching Murder, She Wrote.
She loved Murder, She Wrote back in the day, but the one that she will watch over and over and over again are the old Perry Masons.
I can see that.
So, I would, from that standpoint, she sounds like she's less open, but she owns like more books than the library. I mean, her idea of getting new furniture is a new bookcase.
I love your wife.
Yeah, I love her too. But so really she's a blend. And in the end, that's what the article said.
Right.
So how about you two? Where do you fall?
Well, at first, I thought I fell into thrill seekers a little bit.
Okay, so let's tell them what that is. Those are like your folks who like action adventure movies. They kind of watch less TV than other folks. Right. They like face-to-face encounters. They need lots of stimulation.
Right. But then I got down to the self-medicators and the neurotics, and I thought, oh, there's my people.
Oh, Dana. Okay, I don't even know where to go with that. Let's tell them what that is, although I'll bet they've guessed.
Yeah. So the self-medicators listen to a lot of music, and they're high in neuroticism. They're less emotionally stable people who are anxious, sensitive, and easily upset, tend to be artistic, creative, and gravitate towards emotionally turbulent art, film, song, and literature. Often seems as romantic.
Oh, and they like what they decorate their rooms with are inspirational posters and self-affirmations. Do you fit there too?
Oh, just a little. So I think I'm gonna have to claim neurotic.
What came to mind and what I was gonna say, and now I'm gonna say it anyway, is Trump. Oh, I'm sorry. and I so don't put you in the same category.
Yeah, but he doesn't. I tend to gravitate towards the positive, or I try. I don't always do it, but I try and tend towards the positive, where there isn't a positive word that comes out of Stumpy's mouth.
Okay, so a positive self-medicator. Okay, see, we should tease that out, like the open people, less open people, so there's positive and negative self-medicators. I'll buy that. These are also folks that use music and art to impact their mood. They feel sad. They might do one of two things. They either just get all into it and put some kind of a sad movie on, or they cheer themselves up by putting on some upbeat music. It's those folks. Yeah, and you think you're one of those, huh?
Yeah, I fit that category pretty well. But as far as the music goes, I love classical music. And there's nobody else in my family that likes it. So I don't get to listen to it very often. But when I'm going downhill instead of uphill, I know I listen to more classical music than I do normally.
Okay, so I can't help but tie that to something else that we read in the article. The more intelligent people, and this came out because it said that what you like has a genetic component, but more intelligent people tend to like classical music. So maybe that means you're smarter than the rest of them.
I don't know if I go that
say
far.
That on the air. We'll
Yeah.
say that on a live show.
Yeah, no. I don't know about that part. But again, I think you have to have kind of the open personality to be willing to look at other forms of music. because it's not, these people that like just one genre of music, I look at them as closed because they're not open to anything new. And I tell my wife all the time, if you just listen to this music and hear it, you would love it. And she's like, no, ain't happening.
It isn't that, I mean, it's funny how that fit just with what this psychology article was talking about.
Right.
I mean, we do, our tastes are unique. They're uniquely our own.
Right.
And yet we do our best to hook others on what we like. And we make judgments about people based on what they like and dislike.
Oh, absolutely. You know, somebody rolls up next to me in the car with the bass and the thump, 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 thump. Yep, I judge them.
And what research showed that those stereotypes that we use to make those judgments, well, a lot of times they're wrong, but sometimes they are right. So there you go. And we feel about those as strongly as we feel about the things that we love.
And, you know, I think as we get older, our tastes open up a bit. Just because we've been around, we're not that old, but just because we've been around longer, we've seen different things and have changed our mind on some things.
You think?
I'd like to think so.
Okay. Okay. I'll take it.
Do you agree or disagree?
You know, some of the like some of the music I have liked over the years, or movies. That's a good example for my wife and I. It's rare that we settle on a movie that we both like. It can happen, but it takes considerable research to find just the right film, because she likes movies with things going on.
Right.
Action, and I mean, mostly she likes a mystery or something. And I want tons of character development. That's what I want. You can just have a movie that has almost nothing happening and let me get to know that taxi driver or whatever.
So what's your favorite movie then? What's your favorite movie?
Like, absolute favorite. Okay, so I'll just take the one that comes to mind first. Prince of Tides. It's a Barbra Streisand film.
That book was just heartbreaking.
Oh, but you got to know those characters. And the movie, that is one of those movies that, although it's a straight flick, and I don't tend to be drawn to the straight romances on film, but I am drawn to anything Barbra Streisand appears in. So there you go. That's how I watched it. But
wow.
Yeah, you really get to know those characters. You know them.
You do.
I give me a good character development. You know that, and that's a piece of being introverts. You know, the article talked about those folks that are reserved and thoughtful and self-reliant. They tend to be the ones who are suckers for character development films. And I kind of fit that introvert category a little bit.
Do you think most authors would fit in that category because that's what they look for?
I think, but I don't know that. I suppose there are some authors who are extroverts. They like, you know,
right.
They're the people, but I don't know. I think most authors probably are introverts.
Because they've picked a craft that is solely a one-person craft. I mean, they have to sit down. They have to be regimented to sit down at their computer and write by themselves.
Yes, it is a solitary activity for the most part. And, you know, as an author, I mean, you're in your character's world, but you're not really too connected with the outside world when you're fully engaged in writing. At least that's the way it is for me.
And that's why I could never be an author. I don't.
So,
There are
so
too
you're
many.
more of an extrovert.
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know, but I can't sit down and write for hours at a time. There's too many squirrels going on in my head. I'm doing good to sit down and do my meditation practice and get through that without 9 million squirrels going through my head.
Okay, so you probably are more of an extrovert than an introvert. Because an introvert is really focus. Of course, that's an internal focus too, if you think about it. Watching the squirrels in your head, that's what authors do for a living. We watch squirrels run around in our head, and we hear them say things, and we write it down.
Yeah,
that is the craft. Okay, I'm moving on from there. Okay, fun. You asked me favorite movie. What's yours?
I loved the first Mamma Mia. That's probably one of my favorite movies. I didn't as much care for the second one, but the first one, it's just a feel-good movie. It just makes me feel good when I watch that movie.
Okay.
And
in a way, that's Thrill Seeker, a little bit.
Yeah, but I thought we also had some good character development in it.
Which any good film has to have some.
And it had a great ending. These movies that leave us with a down, depressed ending, I can't do them. I mean, I have walked out of 2 movies in my entire life. I mean, straight up walked out of the theater. One was...
Do you remember which ones?
Oh, yeah,
you do.
One was Pulp Fiction, and the other one was Saving Private Ryan.
Okay, I get that. Yeah, they weren't not my favorite films either. Interesting. You like rainbow and unicorn endings. I'll file that for future reference.
You know me and my unicorns and rainbows.
Music, what's your preference?
I love classical or even like some new agey instrumental stuff. That's my favorite.
Okay. Yeah, that falls into that really intelligent category.
I like music with no words.
Okay, me too. Now we are there. I don't want any lyrics getting in the way of the music I listen to. I'm more of a smooth jazz person. Like foreplay. Okay, all right. Art. Do you like art? Do you have a favorite artist?
I don't know that I really have a favorite artist. I like art, but I've never been that much involved in art. I love Rembrandt, and I love some of the old stuff. Renoirs, stuff like that. I think I like it just because it's old, and I try and figure out what they were thinking about when they were doing it, and how long did it take them.
So I go to the other extreme. Give me Salvador Dali. I could hang Salvador Dali all the way around my writing studio. That man was crazy and creative.
Like Jackson Pollock. He was crazy.
Yeah.
Literally.
and crazy often goes with creativity. I'm sorry to say.
We'll just leave that one right there.
We'll just leave that one lay, too. All righty. All right. Since we're playing this quiz thing, nonfiction book, do you
do you
do much nonfiction?
I do read some nonfiction. Right now, my favorite is probably the new Michelle Obama book. Loved it.
My wife really liked that one. If I do nonfiction, I like nonfiction, science and psychology, but now pretty much if I read nonfiction, it's mostly related to writing. So Power of Point of View by Alicia Risley.
That's always been your favorite. We have discussed her before.
Yeah, I have a ton of writing books. All right, let's do fiction just for fun. That's what I write, and that's what you like to read.
God.
Let's do lesbic, non-lesbic.
it's too hard in the lesfic. I have so many favorites.
Yeah, and there's just no way to answer that question, is there? Not talking to me.
And your books are up in there.
We won't go down there. I'll tell you mine. Then you don't have to. Radcliffe, Passion, Sprite, Fury.
We've talked
Fiction.
about that one before. That was your first love.
Yeah, kind of. Not the first lesfic I read, but the first one that I just fell in love with, mainly because of their character development of that protagonist.
The first one that I can remember reading, because I had no idea, but in high school I read Ruby Fruit Jungle.
Yes, Rita Mae Brown.
And that was my coming of age book for me.
Very cool. And on that note, I think we've covered this topic well. But as a treat to you and the listeners. Okay, this article said that the Romans may have gotten this right when they proclaimed. I took Latin in high school. Here we go. The Romans may have gotten this right when they proclaimed de gustibus non est disputandum. About matters of taste, there can be no argument.
Ooh.
You've been listening to Coffee Break with K.A. and Dana. Meaningful conversations from a lesbian perspective were brought to you by the Lesbian Talk Show. Listen to us on Podbean and iTunes. Follow us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. Until next week, be kind to one another, work hard, and watch amazing things happen in your corner of the world.